Perhaps he can find an answer. You will be returning to Waloed soon, I gather.
I see no reason to wait.
Then neither do I.
I can think of a few, but I doubt they'll stop you. You will take your medicine.
Of course, Lady Tyre.
Set on leaving already, are ya?
How long will it take us to get back to Ash?
Dunno, about the same amount of time it took us to get here. Maybe less, if your uncle can find someone trustworthy to patch up the Enterprise. All depends on where we're putting into port, mind.
Yes. It's not as if we can put ashore wherever we choose. We have to assume that the whole of Ash is hostile, and that we'll be attacked on sight.
Then we must find a place they won't think to look. And I have an idea who might know of one.
The Professor! I'll go and tell you come in.
While you're plotting our course, I'll be in the shelves with your lawsman. I wish to pick his brains about Ultima.
Then I'll talk to Karen about supplies for the journey. They may not be easy to come by in Ash.
Your brother's body won't take much more of this recklessness. You know that, don't you?
I do.
Well, there's a plus thing over here, so maybe I'll grab it really quickly. Oh, what? This away? And then this away. Yeah, he definitely seems super strong. Let me just accept this as I'm coming through here really quickly. Hi, man.
Told me you helped him out again. Tough for that. Speaking of which, I'm actually a bit,
Worried about him. And you want my advice?
afraid so. It's a bit of a funny one, this, but I saved this posh knob while I was out on a mission, and he gave me this flashy ring to say thank you. So, obviously, I show it to Blackthorn, thinking he'll be impressed, only for him to go white as a sheet and quiet as a curl instead. Try as I might, I can't for the life of me work out what could have got him upset like that. And seeing as how Blackthorn opens up when you're around, I thought maybe...
I'll speak to him.
I'd speak to him again. Well, I suppose there's no point leaving him to stew.
Cheers, Clive.
I'll be sure to pay him a visit as soon as I have a moment.
All right, I'll meet you by the forge then. You come along when you're ready.
Yeah, I'll swing by there sometime later. I may as well turn it into a priority one. Why not? And it can unlock some new things that I can forge and all that, so it'll probably be one that I end up doing. Let's go find out a bit more lore.
Ah, Clive. I was wondering when you'd arrive. Please tell me you've come to take our young prodigy here off my hands.
I'm not here for Mid. I need information on Ash.
Then why not ask Molly if you can look in one of her ovens? Go on.
As soon as the Enterprise is ready, we'll be setting out for Drake's Spine. And we're going to need a safe place to land.
Preferably one that won't see my ship blown to shit and splinters.
If it were that easy, do you think Waloed would have resisted invasion for so long? Very little is known of Ash, and the information we do have is spotty and outdated. We have the good King Barnabas to thank for that. Waloed's borders have been closed to outsiders since the day he seized the throne. If there is anywhere safe to land, you won't find it on my map.
Then tell us what we will find. I'm sure you know better than we do.
But no splinters.
All right, if it will get you out of my hair. But interrupt me, and it's over. Understood? Barnabas Tham, the one they call the last king. Understand him, and you will understand the kingdom of Waloed. Barnabas was only a boy when he arrived from beyond the southern seas, and barely a man before he united the ragged tribes of Ash. And having unleashed them upon the formidable Veldemark, he set his throne upon the ancient kingdom's ruins. The victory sent shockwaves around Valisthea, tales of Odin's might spreading through every court, parlor, and drinking hall in the realm. Note that this was in the year 843, and that the king still sits upon his throne some 40 years later, quite untouched by time. Waloed's recent inaction left many wondering if Odin had lost his appetite for war. And yet here we are. The Einherjar was committed to the fray, a bold declaration of intent. Orcs swarm around Drake's Fang, and throngs of Akashic haunt Canva's streets. Though how precisely the havoc they wreak serves Waloed remains unclear. Regardless, if the order to attack truly came from King Barnabas, then one thing is certain. Waloed has achieved the impossible, and made bedfellows of beastmen and the ether-addled alike. All of which is a roundabout way of saying that you will be in unknown territory when you set foot on Ash. Much of the continent has already been lost to the Blight, and what few ports remain will be fiercely guarded. And that is to say naught of its natural defenses. Offshore currents will cast an ill-equipped ship out to sea one moment, and dash it against the rocks the next. But then the Enterprise is anything but ill-equipped, and Mid has made land there before. Now, if only there were someone with an intimate knowledge of the Shadow Coast, and where a daring gentleman might put ashore. You see, Clive, you had the answer all along.
Do you think you can get us back to that beach, Mid?
Picked you up from it, didn't I? Not that it were easy. The currents were a right bastard. But then, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth doing, would it?
Well said. Thank you, Lady Vivian.
If a few morsels of common knowledge and a sprinkling of tavern talk are worthy of your thanks, I wonder what genuine intelligence might earn me.
Probably more visits. Mid, I need everyone in the ale hall now. I'll fetch Joshua from the shelves.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Gosh dang it. Yeah, I looked it up with the DLC about how to unlock it. I know that there's like a couple specific quests that I'd have to go and do, and also be at basically the point right before the final battle before I could Phoenix heal myself before I could do it. So I'll do everything up until the final mission, and then just like stop until the PlayStation Store winter sale starts, and then I can pick up the DLC cheaper, because that's gotta be in like probably less than a week's time, maybe about 1 week's time away anyway. So I may as well wait a hot second and save myself a few bucks. And then whenever that happens and I pick it up, then I do the DLC. And then I beat the game. So maybe I'll get this one done before the new year, maybe not. If not, it'll be very shortly after the new year. Is the plan.
But His Grace's case is severe. The drafts I have been able to prepare for him thus far have ceased to have any real effect. So I consulted with Talia and certain of my comrades among the Undying about the possibility of finding something stronger. And thankfully, a recipe was found. The only problem being that the critical ingredient is exceptionally hard to come by, and our supplies are almost exhausted. Unless we can secure more soon, your brother's anguish will likely become unbearable. My lord, I know that I have no right to make demands of you. But would you help? For Joshua's sake.
Sure, for Joshua anything.
Joshua. Anything.
Thank you, my lord.
So, what is this critical ingredient?
A rare herb by the name of stonerwort.
By the name of medicinal marijuana.
The vigor it stores in its stems helps to counteract the curse. We discovered a patch near the aqueduct in Rosaria. But alas, yet more ether has erupted from the earth there recently, leaving the whole area flooded. The search continues for a new source. One that we might reach without being turned.
So it's only that you can't reach it. The stone and water itself is unharmed by the flood.
Well, yes, but...
Then I shall go in your stead.
But, my lord...
You've yet to find another source, correct? So for now, the aqueduct is our best hope. Besides, I'm a dominant. The ether can't hurt me.
Well, if you're sure, my lord. Stonewort is easily identified by its blood-red blooms. Search around the aqueduct, and you're sure to find some soon enough. I shall remain here and prepare the other ingredients.
Phoenix, heal thyself. I'll maybe prioritize it later. According to how long to beat, it's about 18.5 hours on average for a lot of people there. It might take me a decent bit longer, but a decent bit longer in terms of me spending time off camera just because I want to grind to make, like, my dedicated Persona builds and be able to take on the super boss. Yeah, it's apparently not short. It very much sounds like. I don't know how much, how much grinding is expected for, like, a normal playthrough. I assume that it includes that. Whoops, I was not trying to go into photo mode. Apparently that's my first time doing it. Okay, and then that away. Yeah, it apparently has some decent length. Apparently the DLC doesn't have the day-to-day like the main game does, so no daily going to school and then hanging out with people and building up bonds. Like, apparently it's just like the dungeon and like going around defeating enemies and getting levels. Like, it's just that over and over and over again. So if I start it before I head out of town, then I can continue playing it on my laptop while I'm out of town, just continuing the grind and starting to, like, I don't know, make some of my Persona builds and stuff like that. So yeah, that would add to the playtime. So it'd probably be a bit over 18.5 hours for me in that case, but most of that be like time done off camera of like preparations for the super boss. Where this, apparently the super boss of the DLC is the character Joker from the hit game Persona 5.
Don't tell me.
The man, the myth, the legend himself, who's looking cool.
We still got plenty of that left.
Apparently they added him into the DLC there. Yeah, it is apparently. Apparently he's pretty brutally hard as well. Just like the super boss of the main game.
Over the top for additional thermal amplification and a system of reciprocal recirculatory regenerators that
This is the guy that like expanded my potion inventory before, right? And I think increased like the potency of my potions the first time. So this is a quest that I would very much want to do, actually.
Trouble is, we won't be able to make it out of any old rubbish neither. We need the good stuff. And I hear you once helped Helena get her hands on exactly that.
At least I think it was this guy, I don't remember.
Any chance you could help me too?
But it does have a plus, so I mean, even weirder signs, I'm pretty sure it was this guy.
I'd be happy to.
I promise you.
So, what exactly is this good stuff you need me to find?
This is the guy that wants marijuana.
We've got a couple of examples here. Spherical echoes, we call them.
More fallen materials. So this smelter is similar to the Mithril engine in more ways than one.
That's right. They're a bit like the thermal helms. Fallen ceramics deal with heat like nothing else, see? And what's more, they're directional, transferring heat from the inside to the outside. But these things, they're all outside. If we line the hood with them, they'll reflect the heat right back into the furnace. We've collected as many as we can, and I know where we can get the rest. Trouble is, they're all watched over by their bigger, uglier cousins.
So you want me to visit some ruins, destroy some echoes, and bring back the spheres they're guarding?
That's it in a nutshell, yeah. We're only 3 short, mind, and we know exactly where they are. There's one up Amber Way, in that ruin that they call Lost Plume, and another in the Silent South, over in Dalmekia. Last one is in the ruins of Advent, which is in the Empire.
All right then. Wish me luck.
Will do. I'll be keeping all my fingers and toes crossed.
Even weirder signs. I'll add that to my priority quests, I think. But yeah, so the situation with the Persona 3 DLC, there's a lot of different versions of Persona 3 over the years, and okie doke, that's understandable there. If you want to hear my little bit about Persona 3, you're welcome to. There's a lot of different versions of it, and I don't know if it was like the second version of it or the third version of it, of Persona 3 FES later release, like the enhanced re-release, like Atlus likes to do, just like Pokemon did for a long time with enhanced third versions later, or whether it was Persona 3 Portable, which is just like the same game but on the PSP, like remastered for the handhelds and stuff there. One of those added like a new epilogue story called Episode Aegis. And when the full remake, the modern remake that released earlier this year came out, people were very confused about like, why is there no Episode Aegis here? And apparently a lot of people don't even like Episode Aegis. Apparently the story of it is like absolute garbage from what I've heard. But people were still upset being like, this was content that was included for free in previous versions of the game. Yeah, Episode Aegis. So why is it not included here? And Atlus, being the greedy bastards they are, later released it as a paid DLC, is the case. So that's, yep, that's indeed how it's spelled. So if you look at the reviews of the DLC that I'm going to be playing through, they're all just like super negative because apparently 1, it sucks, and 2, it's turning what was previously free content into now paid content. And a lot of people are very upset with that. Like if I look up Persona 3 Reload on Steam, and then holy crap, was that really how much I paid for it? $93 game? And now there's like deluxe editions and stuff? But yeah, in library, I picked it up when it was on sale, so I didn't pay full price for it, luckily. I think I picked it up on like a Boxing Day sale. So if you look at the store page for the DLC, recent reviews, mostly negative. All reviews, mostly negative. 28% of reviews are positive for the DLC here, because apparently it's bad, and it's also content that was previously free that's now paid in this version. And it costs $47, and they also artificially inflated the price of it by also throwing in all this other shit. And there's no like standalone just Episode Aegis that you can buy. That isn't an option in the store. Yes, exactly. So it was once free and now it's paid. Like it was once free in a previous version. So like you could play like, what is it? The later PS2 version or like the portable version on like on the PlayStation Portable. So like the previous version was a worse version, mind you. Like the graphics aren't going to be as good. The gameplay isn't going to be as good. Like it's not up to modern standards. It's an old version of it. But it was built into those games. I'm pretty sure here. Where was it added? Persona 3 Episode Aegis. Can I just find where it was added? Was it FES or was it Portable? Hold on. Persona 3 FES. Let's look up first and foremost. Because that was the, that was, I believe, the PlayStation 2, like, just enhanced version later. Right, estimated 30 hours of additional over the original Persona 3. Yeah, okay. So the first, like, re-release included that. So there was, like, the first version of Persona 3 on the PS2. That was just, like, the original game. And then later, they released Persona 3 FES for, like, the enhanced re-release later, just like Pokemon would do, because Atlus loves to do that. And with a new epilogue story, if you want to replay the entire game over again by doing this. And then there was Persona 3 Portable, which is just like, hey, here's a version of the game on the PlayStation Portable, so you can play it on the go. So in FES and on the Persona 3 Portable, it was built in, because that was like the additional content that was like one of the big selling points of FES. And then with Persona 3 Reload, the game released without Episode Aegis, and it's seemingly like it wasn't coming. So people were like, that's really dumb that there's like content that was in the previous games that just isn't in this version. There's also another bit of content that didn't make it to the remake game. So in the, I was looking over the Dark Deity demo there. In the portable version, I don't think it was in the FES version, but in the portable version, they made it so you can choose between like a male hero character or a female hero character. You can choose like which your avatar is going to be. That, I think that was something exclusive to the portable version. that isn't a thing in Persona 3 Reload, the remake like a decade later here. There's only the male protagonist. There is no female protagonist anymore. So that content was gone, and episode I guess was gone. So people were a little bit pissed at Persona 3 Reload, being like, what? How are there so many different competing versions of Persona 3 where like not one of them has like all the content? Like, so there's 4 different versions of Persona 3, and the most recent one, the remake from earlier this year, doesn't even have all the content. Namely with like the female hero not being there. And some of the content was taken out and re-released as a $47 DLC, with episode I guess itself not being a thing that you can purchase in the store. Like, you can't buy it individually. You can only buy it as part of this bundle called the Expansion Pass, because it also includes, what is this? Music from Persona 4, music from Persona 5, 1 costume and more music, and then episode I guess the answer. So, yeah, the main thing is episode I guess, like the main DLC, that again, was free in previous versions, and they're gonna artificially inflate the value by being like, look at all these other things that you get! 1 costume set, and music from the other games. When, realistically, you could just, like, mute the game music and pull up YouTube and listen to that OST for free while you're playing, but for those that are too lazy to do that, I guess. I mean, if you want to play episode I guess, you have to have shelled out for this stuff anyway. And yeah, like a typical game expansion pass, they're like, here's it coming in waves. So wave 1, March 2024. Music from the other games. This already exists, it's just a patch that puts in music from the other games. But it's wave 1 of the DLC. Unlock and listen to additional tracks from Persona 5 Royal and Persona 4 Golden while exploring and battling in dungeons in Persona 3 Reload. And Persona 3 Reload episode I guess the answer. Wow, imagine wave 1 of a DLC just being music that you can toggle on and off from the other games. Wave 2, a costume set and a little bit more music. Unlock Velvet Room themed costumes and BGM to further customize your dungeon experience. Yeah, 1 more costume set and a bit more music options as you explore around. Wave 3, finally there's the answer. The thing that was previously free in older versions of the game and is now a paid DLC here. And yeah, so the reviews of this aren't exactly great. Some are positive, it looks like, but not a lot. Not very many. Yeah, and I've heard bad things about this. I think, in the Discord in general earlier today, yeah, it was John Wildcat that was like, man, I can't wait for Harmonia to experience the stupidity that is the answer. Because apparently this story is very much not good. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be playing there. So yeah, it's pretty dumb and really goes to show Atlus's greed. Like, you could argue that maybe it's a publisher thing of Sega, but I don't remember, like, other Sega games being, like, this stupidly monetized. Like, this is really dumb. But yeah, let's see here. So why are there some people that really like this game? What, with, like, Persona 3? Because there are some really good things about it. It's kind of like Tales of Arise, where it's, like, a really good game. Well, I actually don't think Persona 3 is a really good game. I think the cons outweigh the pros. But for someone that really likes it, it's kind of like Tales of Arise, and that it's a really good game. But it's just, like, stupidly over-monetized to all Kingdom Come, is what it is. Give me the same vibe as Tales of, with people absolutely praising Symphonia and Vesperia, but the gameplay felt really clunky. Yeah, that's kind of that, but in, like, a different sense here, where the thing to criticize is, like, the monetization practices. Like, am I the only one who just sucks at this game and doesn't understand it like the rest of the people? What, with, like, the Tales of games? Because, yeah, I didn't really get it as much with Symphonia and Vesperia as well. It was fun to play together. I think if I was playing it on my own, I wouldn't have been able to get through it. At least everyone is in agreement that the paid DLC is shit and deserves negative and poor reviews. Yeah. I think the actual, like, Persona 3 thingamabob is probably pretty positively reviewed. Yeah, overwhelmingly positive. People love Persona 3. But people hate the answer. Because apparently, the story sucks, and it was free at one point, and now it costs $47 on top of the $93 game that you've just bought to, like, play it in the first place. So, I mean, what are we at here? Calculator. 93.49 plus, what are we at? Assuming you're not shelling out for this stuff here. plus $46.99. So if you want the full game, like the full remake here, you're paying $140 Canadian. What the heck is in the digital premium edition anyway? Is it just like a... Does it say somewhere? Just out of curiosity. And then there's like all these DLCs of like, here's costumes from the other games and personas from the other games. $8 for a batch of other personas that you can use that are from other games. Look, even the Persona 5 ones are split into 2 sets. If you want the full set of like Persona 5 personas, you're gonna need to spend $16 because it's 2 different sets here. So yeah, I don't shell out for that kind of crap. It did make things like the super boss a little bit harder, like when I can't be using like busted DLC personas to just like cheese my way through, but like you do what you gotta do, and I refuse to shell out for that kind of crap. So yeah, there's that. Good old this. I shelled out for this because it's part of the playthrough. I figure I'll showcase the DLC. I'm really glad I didn't get it at full price. I managed to get it on sale. But yeah, what is the digital deluxe edition? I don't remember there being this when I first bought this. Digital art book, digital soundtrack. Okay. And then digital premium is with DLC pack. Okay. They didn't say that there was going to be any DLC, at least any episode I guess DLC when this game first came out. And a lot of people were wondering like, huh, is there just like not any episode I guess here? And then they released it later as a paid DLC. So I guess the digital premium edition is a thing from there. So yeah, like a $7 discount by doing that instead of doing this here. So yeah, that's Atlus for you. So yeah, that's going to be fun to play, isn't it now? So, not everything I play on this channel is good, and that's just like par for the course. That's part of the deal here. If I'm doing a full playthrough of something, I want to showcase all the main content. Not all of it's going to be good. And I knew that going into this. But yeah, it just meant like you're comparing with Persona 3 though. The main game, everyone loves it, but you seem to have been bored most of the time with it. Yeah, I actually don't quite get it. I do really like a lot of things about it. Like, I really like the ending and like some of the messages that it had. But like 90% of the game is just such a nothing burger of just nothing happening all the time. Just, it's such a bore, in my opinion. I really like Persona 5. I think that Persona 5 is like one of my favorite games of all time now. Like, if I had to name like my top 5 favorite games at all, like, unordered, it would probably be like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon 2 and 4, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, and Persona 5, I think. Like, it's up there. I really liked Persona 5. I really did not like Persona 3. I don't know if me playing like Persona 5 first kind of tempered my expectations. Apparently the remake of Persona 3 changes a lot of the systems to be more like Persona 5. So people have said that the gameplay is kind of like a mix between 3 original and Persona 5 in the remake. So maybe if I played like the original Persona 3, it would have been even more unbearable. I don't know. Well, original in quotations. One of the several other versions, whichever I ended up playing. But yeah, like, am I missing something too with it? Like, are we missing something with it, I mean? I think the positive aspects of it, people love just so much that they don't really care about, like, the nothing burger of the game before that point. Or maybe just find, like, the normal gameplay loop, like, so fun and satisfying that they get a lot more entertained in it than I do. But, like, just doing the day-to-day over and over again. Like, here's another school day. Go hang out with someone after school, and then raise my social stats at night. Go to the calendar next day, go hang out with another person, and then go raise my social stats at night. Next day, go hang out with another person, go raise my social stats at night. Next day. And then with like nothing interesting happening in the story for so long. Like, there'll be smidges where things are happening in the story, but then like big expanses where nothing is happening. I was thinking about comparing it to One Piece when it came to its pacing, but with One Piece, like, as just a good example of how to not handle pacing, as someone that is now 630 episodes into One Piece. In One Piece, things happen all the time. It's just so slow. Such a snail's pace. There'll be like 1 or maybe 2 notable things that happens per episodes. I think it took Luffy like 20 episodes to run across a battlefield in the Marineford arc, if I recall. Something like that. Just a really long time. Whereas in Persona 3, it's not that things are happening, but really slowly. It's that, oh, here's a spurt of things happening, and then here's a big chunk of nothing. Oh, and then here's a span of things are happening, and here's another big chunk of nothing. And then here's another span of things happening, and it's just like that. Yeah, I was not very impressed with like the length of Marineford. And apparently now I'm in the middle of like the longest arc in the show being Dressrosa, so that's gonna be fun for me to go through. So yeah, just really annoying. Even though I haven't played the game, I could see you were struggling with it. I could feel the pain too. It was contagious there. Yeah, because of like the whole weekly thing are up. Apparently there's like a remake of the anime in the works to be like more beginner friendly, like better for newcomers to not have to watch like 1100 plus episodes. And also just have like better pacing and be a better viewing experience. I think it's slated to start coming out like next year, if I recall. Apparently it's being funded by Netflix. Same ones behind the live action. And I actually really like the live action.
Things to do with your time. That remains
And it's really strange considering Netflix seems to have like a grudge against animes and seems to be on a mission to ruin them. But with One Piece, they're on a mission to like actually make it pretty good, it sounds like.
If it weren't the ring, and it was
Which is
something I
like
said,
so not
then I'm
what their
sorry.
resume is, you know.
It was the right? It brought back some unhappy memories, that's all. Memories better left forgotten.
Memories of what?
There are things we'd all rather leave behind, Blackthorn. But sometimes it helps to talk about them. And sometimes it doesn't. Is that so hard to understand?
Don't be like that.
Fine.
Fine.
If it'll get you off my back. That ring you flashed was the work of Zoltan. We apprenticed together back in the day. You've never mentioned him before. Why would I? Ain't seen him in decades, and the last time I did, we almost came to blows. The ring brought it all back. I could tell it was one of his the moment I saw it. Vast has improved, though. More than I thought possible. That thing's a work of art.
So it was a nice ring. Worth a few gil, maybe. What's it matter to you?
It matters because engraving metal's a nightmare and I've got no bloody idea how he managed it. The fact is, I couldn't make anything even half that detailed. So what? You're an armorer, not a jeweler. I'm the Hideaway's master craftsman. I'm not stealing a living at some backwater village forge. My armor keeps you lot safe and my swords keep you dangerous. As far as I'm concerned, every swing of my hammer's another blow struck in the name of our cause. So I put my heart and soul into my work. Because the curse breakers deserve better than second best. And I refuse to be shown up by the likes of Zoltan. Very well. Why don't we go and pay him a visit? Learn his secret. I doubt he'd be too happy to see me. Then just this once. Make peace with being second best. Swallow your pride and focus all your energies on the task at hand. Keeping the curse breakers armed and armored. Provided you can do that, you'll hear no complaints from me. But if you can't, and it's going to distract you, we need to do something about it.
What'd you say, Blackthorn? You know he's right. And it's not like you'll be going alone.
All right.
Magic. So, where do you reckon old what's-his-name is then?
Magic.
Zoltan, was it?
In Dravozd, my old village. He won't have left. He's the chief.
Dravozd, eh? That rings a bell. Not far from Tabor, right? Just north of the fields of Karava. Got that, Clive? Meet us at Dravozd as soon as you can, yeah?
I'll do that when I can be bothered here. And maybe I should, because like I can make some better stuff here then. So maybe that is a quest that I will end up doing. In that a case. But yeah, I know the anime is on break too because the manga still needs to make more chapters. Chambers, what the heck am I saying? Won't be back until April, I think. Well, that's good. They should be taking breaks for stuff to catch up, as opposed to just doing a whole bunch of like filler arcs instead that don't actually contribute anything to the overall story, like they do a lot of the time. I would rather they take their time with things and then just get to like the more important stuff. You know, make the episodes that are out there count a bit more. Before I end the stream, I have something I want to send you that someone sent me with Clive Rossfield and Tekken 8 and made me fucking laugh. It's just a PNG, but it's a funny PNG. Send it to you on Discord. Let's see here. What's going on here? What? Character customization. Final Fantasy 16, next Tekken 8. So is this like a real shot from the game? Is this a real thing that you can put Clive into? Is that... Yes. Wow. I guess I gotta buy Tekken now. That's what I'm gonna have to do. Amazing. My goodness gracious. But yeah, and when it comes to Persona 3, I think one of the biggest things is I was already starting to get a little bit tired of it in Persona 5, and I definitely was getting tired of it in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and then I really felt it in Persona 3, is I'm just starting to get really sick and tired of calendar systems in games. So, the calendar system means that there is only so many time slots before the game ends. There is a finite amount of activities that you can do. So while I could have just like bum rushed through the game and gotten through it a whole lot faster and still been able to beat it just fine, the fact that there's a finite amount of time slots, if I spend a day in game where I bring my character to bed and then just skip to the next day, instead of spending that full day doing activities and like raising my stats and stuff like that, then it feels like a waste, because that's a full day slash a time slot that has just gone down the drain that I know I'm never getting back because there's a finite amount. So it puts you into this situation where you want to be doing everything. In a game like this, it doesn't matter. Like, you can do these if you want, whenever you want. It's not like I'm missing out on my chance to do them forever. It's not like timed quests in a video game, where it's like you only have so long to do this. But when you have a calendar system, then every single activity that you can do is basically like a timed quest, where it's like, if you're not making use of this, it's gone forever. And so, even though I don't need to and still would have been able to beat the game just fine, there was always that lingering thought of, one, what if I can't? What if I'm not strong enough by the end and I screwed myself by not making the most use of these time slots? And two, I know that my save file is also just a bit worse than it could be otherwise, because I wasted this time that I'm now never getting back. So, I'm starting to just really, really hate Persona / Fire Emblem Three Houses calendar systems, because they incentivize you to min-max and be doing everything along the way. Like, imagine if I had to do, like, every single side quest along the way here, or else they'd be, like, locked out forever. It's like, sure, I could keep on playing the main story and, beat the game and enjoy it just fine, but then this save file is in a state where it's like, I'm not getting those quests done unless I started a playthrough from the very beginning again, and then did every little thing along the way. So I just don't really like calendar systems and the play style that they kind of pressure you to play in. So I think Persona 3 kind of got me up to a little bit of a boiling point with it. Fire Emblem Three Houses got me up to a bit of a boiling point with it as well. And then Persona 5, like, I started to get a little bit tired of it towards the end. But Persona 5 had a lot more interesting stuff going on that I didn't mind it as much. But then with the nothing burger that Persona 3 is, I felt that same frustration that I felt with Three Houses, where I was just getting, like, so dang tired of the calendar system. And I hear that Persona 4 is apparently really good, and maybe I'll play it one day, but I just can't see it happening anytime remotely soon, just because, like, I'm genuinely so tired of games with calendar systems at this point, and I don't want to think about them for a little while. So yeah, there's that too. It made me laugh so hard because it's just so out of his character. Yeah, it really is. Maybe you can give characters the wackiest stuff to wear, apparently, which gave you another reason to buy Tekken 8. Nice. Yeah, that seems really funny then. But yeah, and not really, because the hideaway got destroyed earlier in the game and you missed a lot of quests before the time skip. Nope. I actually reloaded an old save file and I did them. This save file is in a state where I can 100% it if I want to. Oh, I guess you said you had to go back to complete them. Yeah, so there's a few timed quests, but not many. It feels like after the time skip is when the game really starts dumping a lot of quests on you. So the ones that I had to complete before the time skip actually wasn't that many. So I didn't have to backtrack and do too much, luckily. But it still would be nice to not have to deal with timed quests at all in games. But in a perfect world, you know? Good news is that's the only time it happens in this game. Yeah, it's nowhere near as brutal as something like Xenoblade Chronicles 1 when it comes to the timed quests. Oh my god, the timed quests of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 are just like on another level. But yeah, and yeah, at this point you can get quests done whenever I want, which is really nice, and I can take things at a chill pace, unlike something like Xenoblade 1 or Persona or whatever the heck here. So yeah, I'm at a little bit of a point of frustration when it comes to Persona. So I'm glad that there's no day-to-day in episode Aegis. Apparently the story's gonna be shit when I play it, but at least there's no day-to-day and I can just take things at the pace that I take things, and I can take it at whatever speed it ends up being because there's no day-to-day. Yeah, you didn't know about the timed quests in Xenoblade 1? All of the refugee camp quests are timed because the moment you send them back to Colony 6, they can't be at the refugee camp to give those quests anymore. All of the High Entia quests are timed because the moment they become Telethia, then Alchemoth is basically like screwed and covered in Telethia. So you have to do a lot of shit in Alchemoth if you want to not be soft locked out of that. And a really annoying thing about Xenoblade 1 is there'll be quests that have other quests as prerequisites, and not only that, but they'll also have prerequisites of you need to have a certain character registered in your affinity chart. And there's no way to know this without either looking up a wiki or just going around talking to everybody, which you need to be like changing the time to get different people to come out because different people have different schedules. So maybe you need to go talk to this person that's only out for like a couple hours at like 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. or something like that. You talk to them, you register them in your affinity chart, and only then the quest icon appears. And that's a quest that you would never be able to complete otherwise after Alchemoth gets screwed over. So, you know, there's a lot of stuff that you can really easily miss. And there's a lot of other timed quests elsewhere in the world. Is there a couple timed Nopon ones? There's 4 timed quests on the sword. On, like, the Galahad Fortress area. Because after the events at Galahad Fortress, where the fort blows up and all the heroes fall onto, like, the fallen arm below, you can't go back to Sword Valley after that. So if you don't complete your Sword Valley map, and you don't do, like, the 4 sporadic quests, and the 4 sporadic quests on Sword Valley are just defeat all the enemies in this base and, like, take it for your own. And it's just go kill a bunch of Mechon, is all it is. But if you don't do those 4 quests while you're on Sword Valley and you go like right to Galahad Fortress, then congrats, you're never doing those 4 quests. Like it is brutal. I can say that as someone that has done it a couple times now, so I know how the quest systems work of Xenoblade 1. That's not how words work. I know how the quest systems of Xenoblade 1 work very intimately because I've near 100%ed the game twice. So I'm in the know about it, and oh my god, I think it has to be like some of the worst timed quests I've seen in my life. So, yeah, the biggest ones are Refugee Camp, Alchemoth, and Sword Valley. But then also, like, the fact that so many areas are just, like, cut off for the entire rest of the game past a certain point. Like, all of the Mechonis, for example, is kind of annoying. So that really sucks if there's certain materials that you didn't collect while you were there, or if you didn't map out the whole thing. So whenever you look at the map, that I don't know why you would, because you can't fast travel to it anyway, but it's super unsatisfying seeing that you didn't map out the whole thing, and it's just annoying. So that really sucks there. It was something that I hope that Definitive Edition would fix a little bit. So yeah, there's a lot of things that I really don't like about Xenoblade Chronicles 1. I'll still put it in like my top 5 favorite games, but like, holy crap, gameplay-wise, it's pushing its luck a little bit, let's say. And Tale makes 4. Clive. There's about 1 crystal left that needs cracking, but 1 man that can do it. See that you don't miss. Yeah, don't. If you want to 100% Xenoblade Chronicles 1, you need to be eyeing the wiki like a hawk every step of the way. Because if you don't, I guarantee there's going to be quests that you miss. Because again, there's ones that are that have prerequisites of registering people in the affinity chart, and they're only out at like certain times. So if you set the time to day and go talk to everybody, and then set the time to night and go talk to everybody, chances are there's still characters that you missed and aren't registered in your affinity chart, and chances are some of them are prerequisites for some quests. So you literally need to be eyeing the wiki like a hawk, and it is insane. And even then, there's still a decent chance of you like not getting everything. It's really bad. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is a lot better. It's not perfect. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is just Indol. Once you get past Chapter 9, I think it is, and Amalthus, like, reveals his true colors, then you can't go back to Indol. And if you didn't complete some quests there, then you can't do them anymore. But that's a lot easier to keep track of. Just Indol. Do all the things on this one continent. As opposed to stuff all over the place with the Xenoblade 1, you know? So, yeah, I still remember giving up on the spider boss in the beginning of the game when you played on the Wii so long ago, because you could never figure out for the life of me how to use the Minato shield. And what's really funny is I feel like the game didn't explain Minato shield all that well. Like, nowadays, as someone that, like, really knows Xenoblade 1 really well, I know that it's a shield against talent arts specifically, which means if an enemy is attacking you and the name of the art is in white text, Minato shield can protect against that. But I remember when I first played, I just used Monado Shield in that fight, but just because the boss kept using talent arts, it was like the gimmick of that fight. And then I would use Monado Shield in future battles, and then it just wouldn't shield me, and I'd be like, what the heck? Why doesn't Monado Shield work? That's weird. And then I just never used Monado Shield for like the entire rest of the game the first time that I played. So I feel like the game doesn't explain its systems very well sometimes. Now I know. It's talent arts. It's only when it has the white text to signify that it's a talent art. Yes, I did. The first time I played it was on the 3DS, and then I played the Wii version twice, I think, and then the Switch version. So I've played the game I played the 3DS version, and then I played the Wii version twice, and then I played the Wii version emulated on my PC for my playthrough on this channel, and then the definitive version came out, and then I did a second playthrough of Xenoblade 1 on the channel, being definitive edition on the Switch. So I think I've played Xenoblade 1 5 times at this point. I've played it a lot of times. Sir, I and the other Cursebreakers are growing concerned regarding the well-being of our captain. Despite the apparent unrest and her recent investigations have visited upon her, Lady Doris refuses all offers of assistance. If it is not too much trouble, I would ask that you please speak with the captain and learn what upsets her so deeply. Yeah, that was how I first got to experience Xenoblade Chronicles. Played the Wii version before the 3DS version came out, yeah. I didn't know that it existed before Shulk was added into Smash 4. Quite frankly, I was one of those people.